Hello, everyone. Happy 4th of July. Thank you so much for tuning in this evening. Depending on where you're at in the United States, it's either 7:30, somewhere in between 7:30 or 10:30. And this might be your morning. Sorry about that. This might be your morning if you're in another country, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in. Let's get started. Put my phone on vibrate, Strocky poo mode, and let's get rocking. So I repeat myself a lot. Hello, everyone. I repeat myself a lot, and this is going to be a very important, and I love Iraq vets. Thank you, Chad. God bless you, and God bless all the veterans and all the active duty soldiers and all their families who protect this country. Thank you very, very much. And I've been published in The Hill and the Jerusalem Post, the Roanoke Times. In fact, I'll go ahead right now, really quickly, advocating against counterinsurgency wars so that we don't send our soldiers to conflicts where half to two-thirds of all our soldiers are the victims. Half to two-thirds of all the Americans killed or wounded in Iraq and Afghanistan were the victims of IED blasts. So if you type in H.A. Goodman, Roanoke Times, ISIS isn't worth counterinsurgency. Let me just go ahead. So Goodman, right here, it's me. This is H.A. Goodman, is an author and journalist who studied international relations at USC. ISIS isn't worth another counterinsurgency war. This is the Roanoke Times. I'm just going to go ahead and send this to you. Here you are, everybody. And so I'm going to tweet that out. And it's important to remember also. So that's in the Roanoke Times. I also have The Hill, counterinsurgency. Putting troops in Syria will lead to another devastating counterinsurgency war. H.A. Goodman, I was a contributor to The Hill, and I will leave that. So I've been published in The Hill and the Roanoke Times. Oh, thank you, Sadie. Well, I know it's not, but it's important that I want everyone to know that I've been writing against these counterinsurgency wars. Of course, it's not important today, but there's a lot more important things today, namely making sure our soldiers aren't sent throughout the planet. And I wanted to let everybody know that I have written to ensure that, or advocated against regime change and advocated against counterinsurgency wars and advocated against the militant foreign policy that I don't like, that has been a hallmark of Democratic Party foreign policy. But there's other places. I don't want to annoy anyone, so I can go ahead and send you them another time. Anyway, Senate confirms moderate confidence assessment that Russia helped Trump over HRC. Thank you, Lou Stranger. Thank you. Let's do something really quick. So I usually repeat myself, and because the CNN repeats itself all the time. And one thing that is important is to counter the ridiculous narrative that Russia wanted Trump, even though Russia got 20% of U.S. uranium capacity from President Obama, and President Obama did nothing, absolutely nothing, to stop Putin or Russia from invading the Ukraine. So tell me again how Putin would actually, what did he do? He is said to have hacked the DNC, whereas he didn't hack Hillary's server, hacked the DNC to inform everyone that Bernie Sanders was being cheated, therefore influencing people in swing states, because he calculated that hacking the DNC would ensure that Hillary lost swing states. Are you following me here? Because it's absolutely ridiculous. So we have almost 300 people 5 minutes in. I'll just start with, so the Senate confirmed an already flimsy, ridiculous assessment by members of the intelligence community, or by heads of the intelligence community, that have now been completely discredited. James Comey is being investigated for leaking classified intelligence. Four of the 7 memos he leaked are classified. The Office of Professional Responsibility, according to Christopher Wray, is investigating the most prominently named individuals in the IG report. Who's more prominently named than James Comey, than Peter Strzok, than Andrew McCabe? And there are others that have been named as well. So they too are being very likely, it's very likely that Sally Moyer and Kevin Kleinsmith and Agent One and all of them who were named in the IG report are being investigated, very likely, by the Office of Professional Responsibility. So the same people who said, yes, Russia interfered in the election are also the same people who are being investigated right now, are also the same people who said we need to stop Trump. We spoke about an insurance policy in Andrew McCabe's office. So let's go ahead. Let's just start here. We did not find any evidence, and when I mean by evidence, I mean actual facts, reality, something that took place, that we can say, yeah, he worked with Russia. So this is something that Bill Maher and everyone should look at. James Clapper, Todd, no others. We'll start off with that. It's a favorite of this channel.
Does intelligence exist that can definitively answer the following question: whether there were improper contacts between the Trump campaign and Russian officials?
We did not include any evidence in our report, and I say our, that's NSA, FBI, and CIA, with my office, the Director of National Intelligence, that had any reflection of collusion between members of the Trump campaign and the Russians. There was no evidence of that included in our report.
I understand it, but does it exist?
Not to my knowledge.
If it existed, it would have been in this report.
This could have unfolded or become available in the time since I left the government.
All right. So James Clapper states categorically there's no evidence of Trump-Russia collusion. He didn't even explain within the intelligence reports that Putin would even want Trump. Here, listen to it again.
Does intelligence exist that can definitively answer the following question: whether there were improper contacts between the Trump campaign and Russian officials?
We did not include any evidence in our report, and I say our, that's NSA, FBI, and CIA, with my office, the Director of National Intelligence, that had any reflection of collusion between members of the Trump campaign and the Russians. There was no evidence of that included in our report.
So he states categorical evidence, and he didn't even talk about Russia wanting Trump. Now, let me just see if I could find Bob Woodward, Steele dossier. He called it a garbage document. Okay, so here you go. Woodward, unverified. So Russia dossier is garbage.
You have said that you believe that the dossier that was presented by the intel community to Mr. Trump, as well as to President Obama, it included the opposition research, with wild, unconfirmed accusations about Mr. Trump. You've called that, quote, a garbage document. What did you mean by that?
I mean that, first of all, the meeting that the intelligence chiefs had with Trump was to go over their very good assessment of Russian hacking, and then they
the very good assessment of Russian hacking. There was no, Bob Woodward is, you know, great journalist. Okay, Watergate, all that stuff. Carl Bernstein is there also in this segment. Here's the CNN segment. However, you have to understand something. He for a second in his life took on the system. Now he's part of the system, and he praises the assessment of Russian hacking, but they never gave their servers to the U.S. government. So how on earth do we know? It's pretty simple. This is 2018. It's pretty simple. There should be evidence of Russians hacking the DNC. We have zero evidence aside from CrowdStrike. And CrowdStrike was purchased or outsourced by the Democratic Party. But here is Woodward calling the dossier garbage.
added, as CNN first reported in a terrific story, because this is news, this two-page summary of this dossier that's full of all these unconfirmed allegations. I've read those 35 pages. The quality is not good. It is the sort of document that you would, they tainted the good report they had on Russian hacking by including this, and they shouldn't have done that. They should have found a channel to make sure Trump got it, maybe through the White House counsel.
You
so here
have said that you believe that the dossier that was presented by the intel community to Mr. Trump, as well as to President Obama, it included the opposition research with wild, unconfirmed accusations about Mr. Trump. You've called that, quote, a garbage document.
It's a garbage document. And now BuzzFeed is being sued because it published a garbage document. So, Azandex, hello, how are you? Bonjour. It's a garbage document. Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. It's a garbage document, and the intelligence community has no evidence because it was fabricated. This was all an attempt to make everything morally relative. Hillary Clinton committed crimes. Trump did not commit crimes. In 2015, sorry if I have to bring it up, because people are like, don't bring up your right egg. Well, it's part of the channel. One reason people listen to the channel is because I've been published in a bunch of places, and I've been telling people what's going to happen. Not that I'm Nostradamus, but nobody... When I counter the prevailing narrative, people say, oh, clickbait. Then I'm proven right. So, and we're being vindicated every single day. Sometimes it feels slower than it should be, but every single day, every single week, we're being vindicated. In 2015, I was saying Clinton could not win. She didn't win. Every single segment, I put a pinned comment. The first, it's of my books, and the first link on the pinned comment is my YouTube segment in 2015 when I wasn't wearing the Minor Threat punk band shirt, and I was wearing a collared shirt, and I was speaking like this and trying to be as gracious as possible. And instead of having people say, well, HA, thanks for letting us know. I got hate. You could see the original comments. A lot of them were, you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so at the end of the day, Clinton committed crimes. She transferred top secret and special access program intelligence from SIPRNet, JWICs, and SCIFs and other channels within the U.S. government. And that's been documented by James Comey, but he said she did so unintentionally. And James Comey and Strzok and McCabe and all of them. Comey, Strzok, McCabe, and all of them know that if America found out how she went ahead and transferred that information, that everybody would then say, okay, she deserves to be indicted. So let's continue. I want to one thing about the Steele dossier also is that second Trump-Russia dossier being assessed by FBI. This is January 30th, but this was written by Cody Shearer. So this is January 30th. This is before McCabe was kicked out. The Weekly Standard has an interesting article. I don't love the Weekly Standard, but the other secret dossier talks about Cody Shearer and Sidney Blumenthal. And if Steele otherwise incorporated Shearer's information into his own dossier, it raises even more serious questions about what the FBI knew about the reliability and provenance of Steele's information. It is so obvious. It is so obvious that the entire Trump-Russia, even the Mueller probe, especially the Mueller probe, all of this is based on gossip and hearsay. And this is my analysis, and I haven't heard this. I'm the first one to kind of say this. Once WikiLeaks published the Podesta and DNC, the DNC and the Podesta emails, once that happened, the media didn't know. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, everybody, for your kind words. Gently Funked. You are an American patriot, HA. We love your courage. You are a true journalist. Thank you. Thank you. I greatly appreciate that. I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. Gently Funked. Thank you. Thank you so much. And it's an honor to speak to everybody here. And it's greatly appreciated. Thank you. The Gently Funked. Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. You're an American patriot, HA. We love your courage. You're a true journalist. Thank you so much. And we got 500 people here. And so Sidney Blumenthal and Cody Shearer would be the equivalent, not even because Sean Hannity is, at least you see him, although he's partisan, he has nothing to hide. These are like shady characters. You never see them anywhere, and they're very loyal to Hillary Clinton. They're extremely like male versions of Uma Abedin. And if they have anything to do, which they do, with a dossier or Christopher Steele's dossier, the whole thing should have been thrown out of court. When Rod Rosenstein says, I'm not the one doing the redacting, 3 FISA judges looked at, so what? An FBI agent swore under oath. Jim Jordan or whoever was there should have said, well, if it was Strzok, his word means nothing. He could swear under oath 1,000,000 times. His word means nothing. His word means absolutely nothing in many senses of the word, of the phrase. And a FISA judge, compelled to just sign off on something that James Comey and John Brennan and James Clapper were saying, you have to do this. This is really important. Yeah, sure, it's a garbage document, but really we have underlying data, if you could just imagine. They did not let them know that Hillary Clinton was basically the author, purchased the dossier. Imagine if Trump purchased the dossier. And then the Republicans said, well, it did say opposition research. What's the problem? They would never allow the shoe to be on the other foot. Additionally, Senate Judiciary Charles Grassley released a heavily redacted version of the letter making criminal referral against the author of the original dossier, Christopher Steele. There's a criminal referral out for him. Tell me how this helps anyone. Atom Bomb 31458, Deep State always battling back, which includes constant top and bottom of the HR radio news, bashing Trump 24/7. The latest document is an example. Exactly. And I don't play guitar. I wish I did, but I don't. And it's so sad. It's so sad. They think that they don't realize that Trump is impervious to their hate. They don't realize that with every hate-filled comment, what they've done, ladies and gentlemen, is that they've made Trump into the embodiment of what they perceive Trump is, not who Trump is. They are attacking and hating a caricature of their own fears, of their own regrets. If they want to abolish ICE now, but they didn't want to abolish ICE during Obama's tenure, then that basically shows they're a bunch of hypocrites. And the point of any government organization, you abolish ICE, then another organization is going to do what ICE is doing. How about you fix the immigration system? If you ask me, I want Dreamers to be citizens tomorrow. That's me. You might differ from me, which is fine. But that's some of the core values of, whatever, progressive, or I think that's important. I think Dreamers should be citizens. I think there are millions of people who have been here or hard workers who should be citizens also. Maybe you have a dreamer and their father or mother has been hardworking, and okay, if they were hired by a company or whatever, there are American companies hire undocumented immigrants and they break laws. But what I'm trying to say is I don't mind having a wall as long as you have Dreamers given citizenship. Rick Bartlett, thank you. Rick Bartlett, thank you so much. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Rick Bartlett. And of course, you need borders. Every nation needs borders. Every state needs borders. But see, that's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. Do you want to know what the problem is? You want to know why Democrats will lose miserably? They're not going to get 20 plus seats. They have to do better than they did last election. They dumped hundreds of millions of dollars and still lost their you-know-what to Republicans. Democrats want borders too. They're pretending. They think that, for example, they'll get the Latino vote by saying, oh, remove ICE. They don't know that 30% of Latinos are conservative, that a great many Latinos and Black voters and Asian voters have conservative values. And they don't realize that abolishing ICE Now, when you didn't abolish ICE, when you deported 2.5 million people, Obama deported 2.5 million people. I think that he cared about borders. But that doesn't fit with the moral sentiment. Oh, by the way, what is it that, not patting myself on the back, because I got schooled on the live chat in the beginning of the segment. I was like, let me show everyone my articles, anti-war articles. And then one person's like, why don't you chill with your stupid articles? And why don't you focus on what's really important, huh? So I did, but I was like, I won't show anyone now. I'll just focus on the segment. Not trying to say that I have, but I have a good sense of what's going on. And oh, by the way, you can't get, in terms of bigger racists. Where is this? Black women leaders rip into top Dems for not defending Maxine Waters. What was I saying the past couple segments, the past couple of days? This is the Hill. What was I saying? Agent Pepsi 1. Most Latinos I know demand border security. Actually, my buddy, I have a buddy. My buddy Fred is, I don't know if he's, I'm almost certainly not watching right now, but great guy. And he is Latino, Mexican American. And he used to debate me, and he's a Republican, my age. And I used to be the, raving, hardcore, tree-hugging liberal. And he was saying, yeah, you know what? But talking about a wall and everything years back. But here, black women leaders rip into top Dems for not defending Maxine Waters. What was H.A. Goodman saying? Okay, I was saying that. That's called racism. That's called racism, ladies and gentlemen. That's the most insidious form of racism. The most insidious. Trish League. H, thank you for sharing your thoughts and knowledge on how corrupt and scandalous these treasonous traitors have sold this country out. They are treasonous traitors. But you deal with them. Trish, always remember this. And how do you deal with treasonous traitors? Through bureaucracy. When people use bureaucracy as a weapon, bureaucracy will ultimately lead to their political demise. When people like Rod Rosenstein say, I didn't do the redacting, sir. Or when Hillary says, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know. Adam Bomb 314 and Maxine, the gift that keeps on giving. Trish League, HA, thank you for sharing your thoughts and knowledge on how corrupt and scandalous these treasonous traitors have sold this country out. But let me tell you something. The same people who have sold this country out, their behavior is not sustainable. I keep saying this, their behavior is not sustainable. And it's not sustainable because they will continue to lose, because the epitome of racism. Black leaders rip into black women leaders rip into top Dems, and the black women leaders are 100% right. They're 100% right. And when Maxine Waters first started doing all of this, I said, "Where's Kristen Gillibrand? Where are the white ladies, identity politics people? Oh, I don't know. Where are they? Where's Elizabeth Warren? Well, you can't rely on her for anything. Elizabeth Warren." This was me waiting for Elizabeth Warren, like a skeleton. You know that meme? You know that meme on Twitter? Like, imagine me as a skeleton waiting for Elizabeth Warren to back Bernie. Every 2 seconds, I'm like, she'll back Bernie. She'll back Bernie one day. No, she backed Hillary, who basically is the antithesis of everything she claims to be. Okay. Yeah. Well. Black women leaders rip into top Dems for not defending Maxine Waters. Almost 200 black women leaders and allies have criticized House and Senate minority leaders for failure to protect Maxine Waters. from unwarranted attacks from the Trump administration, GOP leaders Politico reported Wednesday. In a letter sent Tuesday to Representative Nancy Pelosi and Schumer, the women wrote to share their profound indignation and disappointment that the lawmakers did aid Waters after President Trump launched a string of attacks on her. Waters was criticized by Democrats and Republicans alike after she encouraged opponents of Trump to push back. So Maxine Waters was wrong. You can't, I mean, that doesn't help it. Is that Mad Dog Mattis? You're getting a Happy Meal? Everyone? Happy Meal? No, no, get out of McDonald's. Get out of McDonald's. But Democrats were wrong to allow Congresswoman Waters to take the heat for everything. Where's Kristen Gillibrand? Where's Elizabeth Warren? Where's Hillary? Is she drunk in the woods? How about some nice coffee, brewed cold brew coffee? She's not drinking that. She's drinking the Crevassier. Pass the Crevassier. They thought she said pass the Steele dossier. No, it was pass the Crevassier. That's what she did on election night. Throwing bottles. It was like a P. Diddy after party. Throwing bottles at people. Angry. Hate-filled. Hillary lost. Could you imagine? I'll tell you what. I needed about 5 Xanax. And a half a bottle of whiskey. That was one scare aside. I didn't know I was going to make it. I'll tell you what. I call it the Battle of Hillary's Bulge. Lum Lum. We are still the greatest country in the world. Remember the importance of this day, the ultimate civil disobedience, unapologetic liberty. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Lum Lum. Thank you. We are the greatest country in the world, I think. But I'm biased because I live here. Trish League, thank you again. Lum Lum, thank you. Jeff McDaniel, 100, thank you. HA will be here once many Q channels are gone. Thank you. He always refers to using credible document sources. He never poo-poos out. Yes, he never poo-poos out the Q folks. He will dig into the subject matter as it emerges mainstream. Thank you, Jeff McDaniel, 100. I greatly appreciate that. I greatly appreciate that. I just want to know, like, who's telling me something. Because they can always throw a curveball at you and lead you in the wrong direction if you don't know who they are. Now, and that's all with all due respect to people, the Q people. I have no disrespect to anybody. No disrespect to anybody. Poop out. The live stream is awesome. Thank you, Jeff McDaniel, 100. Yeah, I have nothing against, look, if you want, but then the rebuttal is, well, they're making people, they're getting people interested. And you could be interested, you don't really need to follow something anonymous to be interested, but whatever, to each his own. I'm not really into it, but. Waters was critical. Okay, so the Congresswoman called for the public confrontation in June. Get out of that restaurant. That'll save people. After several members of the Trump administration were confronted by protesters at a restaurant, including White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders and Department of Homeland Security Kristen Nielsen. That doesn't help turnout, though. See, like, what are they going to do after Democrats lose in November? Like, what are they going to do? Have a food fight? They can just throw food at people? We have to step it up a notch. Food fight. This is not violent. You're throwing Jell-O at people, and you're doing it in the name of immigrants. immigrant jello throwing and cake throwing. And it's just like the old times. Yeah, you know, throwing a cake at people. That'll solve things. But then what happens? They don't defend Maxine Waters, who, by the way, was echoing a Democratic Party platform. The platform is to make Trump, anyone associated with Trump, uncomfortable. The Democratic Party derives its moral authority in large part by its support of from black voters. And then when a black woman evokes their party platform, they betray her and they leave her to just deal with all the you know, the abuse and the pushback and the heat. It happens also not to be a very logical stance, but she was still being true to the Democratic Party. And instead of defending her, they betrayed her and they backstabbed her, and they just let her fend for herself and defend herself. And even Pelosi said, oh, she's wrong. Could you imagine? Could you believe that? The audacity. Pelosi wants that. That's exactly what the Democratic Party platform is. Attack, 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 attack. Annabon 31458 was in New Orleans, October 16th, took cab to airport. Unsolicited Haitian cab told me how Haitians deeply resent the Clintons. People have no idea. Exactly. Exactly. Annabon 31458, she stole $10 billion from Haiti. $10 billion. Mike Brennan, can we call you HJ, please? If you watch this channel, you can call me anything you want. If you're on the super chat, call me anything. I appreciate that. I think it's more catchy, and I've been telling you to take your red pills for over a year, and I'm still watching daily. Big fan. Thank you, Mike Brennan. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that, Mike. You can call me HJ. I appreciate that. And about 31458. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you know, in Haiti in 2010, and oh, by the way, $10 billion missing. Well, gee, that's bizarre. How did that happen? Gee, that's bizarre. How did that happen? Wow, weapons deal scandal, Uranium One scandal, Haiti, Chicago commodities trader. There's an issue with Morocco. What else? $1 million for your birthday? Mike, Annenbaum, Jeff, all these. Did you get $1 million for your birthday? I didn't get $1 million for my birthday for 5 minutes. Bill Clinton did. Bill Clinton did for 5 minutes of his time. Oh, thank you so much. I just want to let you know that 200 grand for 1 minute, but you can multiply that. There's something called multiplication. If I can go ahead and give you a good rate, so let's see what I do. You got $200,000 for 1 minute of my time. For you, I'll give you 5 minutes for $1 million. But you haven't given us any. Let's just give 5 minutes, 1 million of my time. This chat is awesome. So I knew it, and it was obvious, and they went ahead and they betrayed Maxine Waters, and the Democratic Party derives much of its moral foundation from the fact that black voters vote overwhelmingly for the Democratic Party. And then, like I said, in addition to not even mentioning the Voting Rights Amendment Act of 2015 from John Conyers, or any legislation that would benefit black voters. If it's legislation that benefits, or if it's moving the embassy to Jerusalem for Israel for Jewish voters, even Bernie Sanders voted for that. Peace between North and South Korea. That's important, obviously, for Korean Americans and also for Asian Americans in general, for all Americans. Gay marriage, important. I'm not gay, but it's important for, I think, for the country. I'm glad gay marriage is legal. The LGBTQ community got something that's very important. A policy. What major policies have been the focus of the Democratic Party for black voters? Can anyone tell me? There's the Voting Rights Amendment Act of 2015. Tips breaker, dyslexic atheists don't believe in dogs. That's awesome. Trip breaker. That's awesome. I guess not. So every demographic or every voting group gets some, conservative Latinos get conservative policies that the Republicans, and then, at least they pretend to care about immigration reform. They've only tried a major immigration reform, maybe 3 or 4 times in the past 10 years. But for the most loyal segment of the Democratic voting base, what have Democrats voted on or done for black voters? And now look, Maxine Waters has been betrayed. Do you think Elizabeth Warren is going to take time out of, banks? Yeah, you wanted to break up too big to fail banks, huh? You backed Clinton. That's good. I was waiting. One of the things that made me walk the you-know-what away to run away, #runaway. Run away. I'll sing that song with John O'Brennan's voice. Oh, run away. I don't even want to. She never backed Bernie Sanders. And that was a travesty. We have almost 600 people here. We're approaching 43 minutes. And so, ladies and gentlemen, #run the you-know-what away. So the Senate confirmed a confidence. I am 100% certain that you're kind of confident about something. Wow, that's really great. What kind of stupid people do we have in the Democratic Party that are really confident, or no, really certain about someone else's confidence? The Senate confirmed the intelligence community's assessment. Did you read the warranty disclaimers? Why don't we do that right now? Why don't we do that right now? Why don't we do that right now, ladies and gentlemen? To the super chat people, thank you so much as always. You definitely give the incentive to keep rocking these live streams. Since I've done the live streams, I haven't had the chance to really focus on my Second Amendment channel, but I'm going to have a nice surprise for everybody soon. Second Amendment. Estimative language consists of 2 elements. Well, that doesn't sound like judgments about the likelihood of developments or events occurring and the levels of confidence in the source and analytical reasoning supporting the judgments. Judgments are not intended to imply that we have proof that shows something to be a fact. Meaning it's a bunch of baloney. High confidence generally indicates the subject judgments are based on high quality information. High confidence in a judgment does not imply that the assessment is a fact or certainty. Wah, wah, wah. So there you go. James Clapper's report that talks about the FBI, CIA, and NSA found that basically even what they are confident of could be 100% wrong. Annenbaum 31458, unfortunately. Yes, unfortunately. America has. Unfortunately. I have an RT segment on that. You can look that up. I was on RT, and I've been on RT 9 times, and it was the most passionate segment. But let's go ahead. So we could fight this thing to the end as Christopher Steele prepares to be deposed about his dossier in London. BuzzFeed grinds for a long struggle. What did the former British spy believe? This is Vanity Fair, June 4th, 2018. What did the British spy believe about some of the details in his now famous report? Finally, in a Russian tech executive's defamation suit against BuzzFeed, a window into Russia collusion Merck may open. No, it won't, because there's nothing. If there was any evidence, it would have come out, I don't know, when Obama was president. It's not that difficult. Rick Gates, anyone had actual contact with a Russian hacker, actual contact with a Russian intelligence official that worked with Russian hackers. That was they were the go-between. The whole point is that it was supposed to be Trump worked with WikiLeaks in Russia to hack the DNC to let us know Bernie Sanders was cheated. And, heaven forbid Americans would find out. And then Trump would win the election because Russia was so worried that they already got 20% of U.S. uranium capacity from Obama. We got 615 people watching right now. There's a great Vanity Fair article that I tried to find the other day. The dirty truth about the Steele dossier. Hold on one second. Oh, great. It's so, and Fusion GPS, Natalia Veselnitskaya met with Trump Jr., but she met with Glenn Simpson before and after the meeting. Every single part of this narrative has been an overt framing of Trump, of General Flynn, of everyone. It's so ridiculous. It's so obviously a failed cover-up with Clinton emails and a failed no coup for you. A failed attempt at a coup. And why do you think Democrats believe this nonsense, even though they, or claim to believe, even though they know that if the shoe were on the other foot, they would never stand for an opposition research? So how Christopher Steele compiled his explosive dossier. This is April 2017. For a select well-heeled set scattered across the globe, everything is like, oh, intrigue. Wow. This is baloney. Orbis was a player in a burgeoning industry. Orbis is Christopher Steele's company, and yes, worked with Christopher Steele's company. Orbis was a player in a burgeoning industry that linked refugees from around the world, from the worlds of espionage and journalism to the decision makers who ran the flat Earth multinational corporations and who also, from time to convenient time, dabbled in politics. So this is a brilliantly written article, although the facts. This was all a setup. In their previous lives, the founding partners of Orbis, trained and nurtured by the Secret Intelligence Service, British SIS, had been in the shadowy business of finding out secrets. And Christopher Steele was not very good at fabricating a narrative. Just because it worked doesn't mean... Just because it worked doesn't mean that it's credible at all. And so, and I warned this, so Vanity Fair actually has great writers, but of course they're part of the Democratic Party or Democratic establishment. At least with Vanity Fair, the writing is pretty awesome. So, I mean, if whatever you're talking about Christopher Steele and the Steele dossier, it's a bunch of, no evidence of anything except a failed cover-up from failed fabricated Trump-Russia narrative from Christopher Steele and Democrats and Clinton. And so on a warm day last June, Christopher Steele, ex-Cambridge Union president, ex-MI6 Moscow field agent, ex-head of MI6's Russia desk, ex-advisor to British special forces on a capture or kill ops in Afghanistan, and a 52-year-old father with 4 children, a new wife, 3 cats, and a sprawling brick-and-wood suburban palace in Surrey, received in his second-floor office at Orbis a transatlantic call from an old client. So the journalist who wrote this is awesome, but this is all theater. Christopher Steele was paid to fabricate a Trump-Russia myth. It's absolutely obvious. It started off with a fairly general inquiry. Steele would recall in an anonymous interview with Mother Jones. Oh, gee. And one of the journalists at Mother Jones is integral in spreading the fake news dossier. And when they get completely obliterated politically this November, and there's a hashtag walk away, and there's other hashtags run away. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, start the hashtag run away. There was one gentleman who said, can I roll with it? Go ahead and roll with it. Start, whatever. If you're a Democrat, you want to hashtag run away. Get your viral video going. You can say you were watching H.A. Goodman YouTube, but get your viral hashtag runaway. His identity at the time, still a carefully guarded secret. The allegations of financial, cyber, and sexual shenanigans would lead to a change the nation. The Kremlin had not only, he'd boldly assert in his report, could have been cultivating, supporting, and assisting. Cultivate, support, and assist. You mean like getting 20% of U.S. uranium capacity? Don't talk about that. Fake news, fake news. You have not one shred of evidence that the millions and millions of dollars that flowed into the Clinton Foundation had anything to do with us giving Putin uranium. Let's get back to this. Had been cultivating and supporting and assisting Donald Trump for years. And they're sufficiently blackmailing him. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the essence of Trump-Russia. This is, by the way, with all due respect to the author and Vanity Fair, and it's a brilliantly written article. Unfortunately, the Mother Jones reporter has zero credibility, absolutely zero credibility. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Azalipad. Thank you. Thank you, Azalipad, as always, for your support for this channel. When you re-register to walk away, be sure to choose the safe at home option so your information remains confidential. Have a happy and safe 4th of July. You are truly a great American. Thank you, Azalipad. Thank you. Thank you. And you are absolutely wonderful, and God bless you. And thank you, everyone, for supporting this channel and just for, for your kind words, everybody. Thank you. We get 609 people watching. Thank you, Azalipad, as always. Very kind of you, and happy 4th of July to you and your family. Thank you. But the most important part of this segment is this. And again, like I said, it's a brilliantly written article from Vanity Fair. And so, as Steele threw himself into his new mission, he could count on an army of sources whose loyalty and information he had bought and paid for over the years. Yet you can't really get loyalty by paying for loyalty. Sorry, doesn't work that way. Monetary payment is not a good indicator of absolute loyalty. There was no safe way he could return to Russia to do the actual digging. The vengeful FSB would be watching him closely. He never stepped foot in Russia, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say this again, and I'll probably say it so many times, it's annoying. He never stepped foot in Russia, Christopher Steele. Ever, 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 ever. There was no safe way he could return to Russia for doing the actual digging. The vengeful FSB would be watching him closely, but no doubt he had a working relationship with knowledgeable contacts in London and elsewhere in the West. From angry emigres to wheeling and dealing oligarchs, always eager to curry favor with a man with ties to the Secret Service, to political dissidents and well-honed axes to grind. Tell me how this is credible. If that's true, then you have a lot of people who have a pretty expensive lifestyle who just are like, yeah, Christopher Steele, pay me. I'll tell you whatever you want. Pay me and I'll tell you whatever you want. That's basically what took place. Then you have Stormy Daniels' lawyers like, yeah, I'm going to run against Trump. He's a legend in his own mind, this guy. And he's upset that Michael Cohen... So Michael Cohen is making overtures to the media because he figures, look, they might come down on me for some, or him for some crazy thing. So I want to make, overtures and, kind of, throw an olive branch to the media. Fine. I'll tell you I don't like Trump so much. Or you know what I'll even say? I'll just say that my family comes first. Oh my God, his family comes first. He's going to flip and sing on Trump, flip and sing. And oh my God, he's going to be Celine Dion and Mary Lou Retton. He's going to flip and sing. And then, my Stormy Daniels' lawyer's like, you know what? He's lying. Media, don't be good to him. Trish League, thank you. Can you imagine what Steele is doing with all that money? He had to be laughing his, off, watching them run for cover. Yes, but you know what he's doing? Trish, thank you so much. Trish, you know what he's doing? Legal fees. There's a criminal referral out for him in the United States Congress. He's in deep trouble. Christopher Steele is in deep trouble. And GCHQ and MI6, they're not going to help him. Because at the end of the day, they have to cut bait. They have to, well, we didn't have anything to do with this. You think they're going to help Christopher Steele? Really? No way. Trish League, you're 100% right. They paid him. They didn't pay him that much considering everything. I think it was like a couple $100,000 he got from Fusion. They paid Fusion, I think, $1 million. And then he got a couple $100,000. That's not nearly enough for all this madness and insanity. You're right, Trish. And you brought up a great point. Joshua Love. HA grinds like no one else in journalism. 3 vids a day all summer. Most people in new media are lazy and read talking points handed down to them. Thank you, Joshua Love. Thank you. Thank you, Joshua Love. Thank you. Greatly appreciated, and I appreciate the kind words. And I really, really like these I'm getting we're getting 600 to 700 on average. I would say 500 to 700 on average. 1,000 when it's like a nice news day. Now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Stance. Thank you, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, let me say ladies and gentlemen again. Ladies and gentlemen, this channel in the live stream, we've already hit like 1,700. I think it was like a big news day like a week and a half ago. Now, when somebody like, oh, Andrew McCabe gets indicted, I think we'll break 2,000 live, which is quite good because I only have 116,000. The super chat people give me every incentive to do this because, like, once I started the live stream, for some reason, my channel doesn't grow anymore. It's stuck at 116,300. It was growing a little bit slower than usual before the live streams, but now it's like capped right there and it goes up a little bit. But I think that the live streams, whereas, you know, you have so many, you know, benefits of it, I think the uploads, the channel grows faster. But you do not get the back and forth and the interaction. I love the interaction. I love the back and forth. I just love everything we're doing together. But so this is 636. 645 people. And like I said, like when we get 1,000 or 700 to 1,000, if I get 1,000 for a channel that's 116,000 subs, if I'm getting 1,000 or even 1,700, and sometimes I'll hit 1,000 even in the middle of the night, it's pretty good for this channel. It's a testament really to the viewership. It really is. Like I have the most intelligent viewership. And I'm not just saying that to be nice. I'm not really not just saying that to be nice. I have the most intelligent. Even the trolls rarely come out. But there's even something like, they're like more amusing trolls than usual trolls. Doesn't mean I won't block them, but they're like somewhat more amusing. Like even the trolls are higher level, you know. Just everyone is just more intelligent and interesting and hilarious. I enjoy watching the live chats. You know, a lot of you guys and gals are really funny. Okay, enough about you. Back to me. So this is the Vanity Fair is like intrigue, James Bond, intrigue, but that's not credible. There's no evidence here. We might lack intelligence, but you know, our intelligence community might lack intelligence, but why do we have to go to the British for intelligence? Let's say they're more intelligent than we are. We got to go to the British intelligence with $35 billion. We outspend them in terms of trying to be intelligent. And our intelligence community, what, like 3-1? And we still went to them. 4-1, I think. The GCHQ and MI6, all of them, I think it's like combined $12 billion. We spend $35 billion on the CIA, the FBI, and NSA. $35 billion. $35 billion. And this all, ladies and gentlemen, this was all a result of a disgruntled, very disgruntled Democratic Party that claimed that claim that, well, we couldn't have lost. We had to blame Russia. Look at this. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're over an hour now. Let's do a little break, and then we'll do HA After Dark a little later. And tomorrow and the next day should be quite interesting. The next couple of weeks should be quite interesting. And ladies and gentlemen, please remember this channel for the victory party in November, when Democrats just get swept again. And you can't blame hashtag. You can't blame hashtag walk away on the Russians. They're going to make it. It really was hashtag walk away to Moscow. It's all the Russian plot. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you. Eric H526. I have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot find a stronger, better, just more devoted person than Eric H526. He's such a great friend. And everyone, I want everyone to please thank Eric H526 each and every segment. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Get some popcorn out. Get some popcorn out. Make it all buttery and slippery. For HA After Dark, that'll happen soon. Thank you so much. God bless. And we will see each other very soon. Thank you so much to the super chat. Everybody, as always, thank you. Share this segment everywhere and let people know about H.A. Goodman on YouTube. Thank you so much.